When it comes to gun confiscation and the Second Amendment and AR-15s, Beto O'Rourke is just plain wrong. Hey everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. If you actually go to KFYO.com right now, you'll probably see a poll on our website that asks specifically for Texans out there, would you be willing to sell back or to sell to the U.S. government your AR-15? Beto O'Rourke telling MSNBC over the weekend that he's met plenty of Texans who, including Republicans, who have told him that they would be willing to sell back their AR-15 if they thought it would mean a safer nation. Beto O'Rourke also telling a crowd, I believe it was the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that while he was at a Buc-ee's, I'm not sure where, but while he was at a Buc-ee's, standing at a urinal, a Republican voter came up to him and said, you know what? I'm willing to give up my AR-15. I'm done with it. I don't need it. I don't want it anymore. I'm willing to give it up if it means we will have a safer country. Listen, I don't believe any of the stuff that Beto O'Rourke says about Republicans coming up to him and saying that they're willing to give up their AR-15. There might be some who are willing to give up their AR-15, but the vast majority of Republicans, the vast majority of constitutionalists, the vast majority of those who celebrate and embrace our great Second Amendment here in this nation, they're not willing to give up their guns in order to, quote, make the country safer. And here's why. Giving up your guns does not make the country safer. It just doesn't. If you believe that giving up your guns makes the country safer, you're either ignorant of current affairs, history, world governments, or you're just a liar, or you're just dumb. But it doesn't make the country safer. Unless you're saying that you shouldn't own a gun because you're maybe going to carry out a mass shooting somewhere. Now, if you're saying that, then please turn in your gun or give it to somebody else. But most people, most law-abiding, responsible gun owners are not going to carry out a mass shooting. They're not going to go out and shoot people. That's the last thing they ever want to do. Even those who have a license to carry, the last thing they want to do is shoot somebody. They're willing to defend their own lives. They're willing to defend the lives of others. But that's the last thing they want to do because there's obviously some ramifications from that if, God forbid, it ever happens. Listen, less guns doesn't make any of us safer. Look at Venezuela. The Venezuelan government years ago said if you would just turn in your guns and get these so-called assault weapons off the streets here in Venezuela, it'll make the country safer. It'll make the nation safer. Mexico has done some of the same stuff before. Other countries go through and they tell their citizens, hey, turn in your guns and it'll make the country safer. It doesn't. In fact, if you look at countries like Venezuela, if you look at places where you have very low gun ownership, and it could make the government a hell of a lot more dangerous. Now, I know what some of you are about to say. Chad, look at some of our European countries. Look at the European countries that don't allow guns, and they have a lower amount of gun violence that's out there. Okay, that's fine, but they also don't have a Second Amendment. They don't have a rich history when it comes to guns, and well, I think they actually do have a God-given right to defend themselves, but their countries do not recognize that. I'm willing to take a chance with my nation recognizing our God-given right to defend ourselves. Folks, take a look all over the world and you see governments that treat their people like shit. And excuse my language, but it's true. Look at Venezuela. They treat their people like shit in Venezuela. You look at North Korea. You look at China. You look at some of these places where government can come in and really become a force of true evil. And in Venezuela, they have no way to fight back against the government. You look at here in the U.S., and I know some of you who are watching this who may not agree with me are saying, Chad, we'll never become Venezuela. We'll never become a nation like that. Folks, you have candidates running for office right now on the Democrat side who want this country to become a socialist nation, who want to take things away from you. They want to take your property away from you. You don't believe me? Look at Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke says, hell yes, we'll take away your AR-15. That's your property that he is saying the government is going to forcibly take away from you. It's really not that hard to see how we could have an authoritarian government in this country. It's sad to say. You hope it never happens. You hope you never have the type of government that you see in Venezuela. But we have candidates who are running on the same type of policies as Venezuela. You have people who are running for office who want government takeover of everything. And so we've got to be very careful with this. This idea that somehow we take away the AR-15, it's going to make America safer. No, it's not. This idea that Beto O'Rourke throws out there that Texans are willing to hand over their AR-15, let me tell you something. I've got an AR-15. I ain't handing it over to anybody anytime soon. That I can tell you. I think there are a lot of other people who feel the exact same way. Beto O'Rourke is a joke. He's polling at about 3% in the polls. From the last poll that I saw today, I think he's right around 3, maybe 4%. Pete Buttigieg is around 5%. Beto O'Rourke is polling very, very low. He's not going to be president, thank God. He's a joke, but I do applaud him for this. At least he's finally being honest. Many of you have seen the clip that came from my radio program in 2018 where Beto O'Rourke told me and my audience that he would not take away their AR-15s, that if you are a responsible gun owner, you can keep that AR-15. A year later, and Beto says, we're going to take their AR-15 away from you. Beto O'Rourke, maybe he's finally being honest out there, and he's finally admitting what the Democrats want to do, which is gun confiscation. They want to take away your guns. They want to take away the AR-15, the AR-10, the AK-47, and really any other gun that they don't think you should own. They want to take away high-capacity magazines. Why? Just because. And folks, it'll never stop. Think about it. The Democrats will never be happy. If you wave the magic wand and get rid of AR-15s and get rid of AR-10s and get rid of AK-47s, you're still going to have a lot of gun violence. In Chicago alone, Baltimore, and other cities, the main violence is not committed with AR-15s. It's committed with a handgun. And that's what we'll continue to see. And then the Democrats will go after the handguns. Make no mistake about it. The Democrats don't care about your ability to defend yourself from tyranny. They don't care about your ability to defend yourself from someone who means to do you harm on a personal level, and they don't give a damn about you going and hunting. They don't care about any of that stuff. They care about total control over your life. And one of the ways they can have total control is by making sure you do not have a firearm. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show, weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time, News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Have a great day.